Right. Thank you so much for that, Emily. Yes, we have been hearing from politicians all across the country, including our very own President Joe Biden. We'll get to his statement a little bit later on in this newscast. Actually, I'm being told that we can read some of what the president had to say. And this is just some of it. Jill and I are shocked by the senseless gun violence that has yet again brought grief to an American community on this Independence Day. As always, we are grateful for the first responders and law enforcement on the scene. I have spoken to Governor Pritzker and Mayor Rotering and have offered the full support of the federal government to their communities. I also urged and surged federal law enforcement to assist in the urgent search for the shooter who remains at large at this time. That's just some of what President Biden had to say. But of course, we are hearing from politicians all across the state as well. This obviously doing what happens across the country time and time again when there is a mass shooting, igniting the debate for gun control. That is for sure. We're hearing a lot of those statements this afternoon. Again, I want to recap exactly what we know. This all happened around 10:14 this morning. That's when the parade was stepping off in Highland Park. And about 10 minutes after it had just started, that is when those random shots were fired at spectators and also parade participants. We know that unfortunately and sadly and tragically, 6 people are dead and 26 people have been hurt. Majority of them were shot, taken to North Shore Hospital in Highland Park. And we know 5 had to be transferred to Evanston, presumably because they have a trauma center there. Of course, we are still getting updates on their condition. It's been described that many of them are in serious to critical condition at this point. And let's talk about the search for the gunman as you look at that helicopter on your screen right now. We know that police are actively searching for the shooter. The FBI has stepped in. The ATF is actually tracing that firearm that was left behind on the scene to see where it was purchased and who purchased it. Maybe that will link them back to this shooter. This is what we know about the person that fired those random shots, described as being a white male between the ages of 18 and 20 years old with long dark hair, white or blue shirt, and at last check did have some sort of a yellow backpack. Of course, all of those details I'm sure will change as this investigation and as this breaking news continues to evolve right now. Also want to point out, because there's so much video out there on social media, on TikTok, on Instagram, on Facebook. Maybe you were there. Maybe you were just capturing the parade going by and had no idea, what may have been captured on your lens. The FBI is asking for videos, for pictures from the area at the time, whether you got fire or shots being fired or not. Your video may have something in it, some type of clue, some type of link back to this shooter. They're also looking for surveillance video. Maybe you have surveillance cameras on your home or business, and maybe you caught something at the time you didn't think it stuck out, but maybe it does now. You can call the FBI and give them the information that you may have. That number is 1-800-CALL-FBI. Again, 1-800-CALL-FBI. Also want to point out the fact, because of how serious this is and how tragic this is, this has impacted a lot of different communities surrounding Highland Park as a result of this shooting. We know that there are fireworks shows canceled in several communities. That includes the city of Rolling Meadows, Libertyville, Winnetka, and many more. Also want to point out the fact that in Highland Park right now, this is a time where you may be in your backyard with your family. This is a time where you may be out, having fun with the kids, barbecuing, but they are telling residents to shelter in place. And if you live in a suburb that is nearby, to shelter in place, because there is an active search. You see law enforcement right there on your screen, many with long guns, searching for this suspect who is still out there. We don't know where he's headed next. We don't know where he is, but there is an active search looking for him right now. This is supposed to be a day where we all get together and enjoy each other. And unfortunately, another mass shooting in our country, another mass shooting that hits a little closer to home for Illinoisans. Now, we do also have a statement that we want to get to as well. We just told you what we were hearing from President Joe Biden, but now we want to talk about here at home who we are hearing from. We've heard from Governor J.B. Pritzker. We got him on camera a little bit earlier, but now we are hearing from Lieutenant Governor Juliana Stratton And this is some of what she had to say. The pain that we are feeling today is not normal and never should be. My family and I are praying for the Highland Park community and all who attended the 4th of July parade today to celebrate our country, only to have that celebration turned into tragedy. Our state is saddened and stunned by this horrific act of gun violence. She said much more than that, but I'll leave it right there. Let's go to Anthony Ponce. He is live at Highland Park right now. We have been waiting on an update. Anthony, I know we haven't gotten that new update from police, right? At least not yet. But can you tell us exactly what you know at this hour?
Yeah, we'll go through kind of the latest that we've heard, Tia. We were told during their last update in about an hour that they would provide another update. We're still waiting on that. A spokesperson from the Lake County Major Crimes Task Force expected to address the media again any minute. We'll let you know when he steps up to the podium. But at last check, he basically had a couple of messages for the community here in Highland Park. For families, again, that shelter in place order still in effect. If you are watching from home, stay inside. And as you mentioned, Tia, if you think you had any photos or videos on your phone, on your camera, on your device from the corner of 2nd and Central from just after 10 a.m. During the parade, you are asked to share that with the Highland Park Police Department, or just call the number you mentioned, 1-800-CALL-FBI. Again, no matter how insignificant you think that video may be, you could have caught this suspect, who again is described as a young man between 18 and 20 years old, white with long black hair, last seen wearing a blue or white shirt. He's said to have a small build. That young man still not located. And Sergeant Covelli described the search going on right now as aggressive, and said it's a very challenging crime scene as well, as they try to piece together exactly what happened shortly after 10 a.m. They said it is a massive crime scene. We're actually being kept a couple of blocks west of where it all happened in downtown Highland Park. We're right outside fire station number 33, where they have staged the media here from all over the region, and at least a dozen responding agencies that are here in Highland Park to help in the manhunt for the suspect. One thing we're still waiting on is more details about the victims involved here. Tia, we know there are 6 deceased and 24 that are right now at a number of hospitals across the region because of the sheer number of victims. As a result of this mass shooting, the nearest hospital was overwhelmed. So we understand a number of the victims were brought a little bit further south to Evanston Hospital, which has a trauma center. We are told that some of the victims that were shot earlier are in critical condition. So this is a very fluid situation. I also want to mention that Sergeant Covelli said if you are still separated from a loved one, in the resulting chaos of what happened, the Family Reunification Center is at the Highland Park police station. So if we've seen reports on social media of at least one young man, a boy that was located by some onlookers, some fellow spectators of that parade, who they said was separated from his parents. Again, if you are looking for a loved one, just head to the Highland Park police station. That's where you are told to go. At this point, all the information coming from the Lake County Major Crimes Task Force, they're describing it as preliminary, that it could change. Again, this is a very, very fluid situation, as we've also been learning about a number of previously scheduled 4th of July festivals and fireworks displays that have all been canceled. From Waukegan to Northbrook and many others in this area, not just out of an abundance of caution, but also just in the aftermath of what happened. No longer feels like a day to celebrate, as the mayor phrased it. This community has absolutely been terrorized. What happened earlier this morning. Again, Tia, we are waiting for an update from the Lake County Major Crimes Task Force any moment. But for now, that is the latest from Highland Park at Media Staging. I'm Anthony Ponce, and I will send it back to you, Tia, in the studio.
All right, Anthony, appreciate that update. And you mentioned some of the people that were injured. I do want to talk about that really quickly. North Shore Highland Park Hospital is currently treating 26 people, and we know that 5 have been transported to North Shore Evanston Hospital. Let's go back to Casey Cronus. Casey, I know you are live from the scene. Has there been any change, any updates from that location where you are?
Hey, Tia, that's right. We are at the corner right now of 2nd and Elm, and we want to show you there is quite a bit of a presence over here of tactical units. Let's zoom into this Bearcat here. There is a SWAT officer on the roof coming out of the top of that Bearcat with the guns drawn in this construction site. It looks to be like it's an apartment building that's being put up here at the corner of 2nd and Elm. When we were walking by, we saw several tactical members inside, guns drawn, shields out. Not sure if they're just searching this to clear it and move on to the next building, as that's what they have been doing all morning. But that's what's going on right here. And then down the street, a little bit further, closer to where the shooting unfolded earlier today, there's an even bigger presence of SWAT officers. We know some FBI SWAT officers are here. Right near us here is Niles Police. CPD is also helping out with their chopper. This is a real intensive search, as Anthony was mentioning and as Tia has mentioned. They are still, of course, looking for this gunman who killed 6 people and injured at least 24 others. Now, earlier at this construction site, we did see a tactical officer on the top floor kind of surveying the downtown area from that vantage point. So we know they are using this construction site to kind of get a better look at the downtown, but it again appears that they are right now kind of searching it, probably just to clear it so that they can move on to the next building here. So that's what's going on here, Tia, and we'll bring you the latest as we learn it.
All right, Casey, thank you so much. Yeah, we're still getting new information by the hour here as this investigation is still ongoing. You know, police are actively, as Casey just told us, looking for the suspect. As of right now, not a lot known. This is what we know. We know that the gunman was described as being discreetly on a rooftop as this parade got started. He was very hard to see from the ground. And this suspect did leave a gun behind. That gun was recovered. And as a result, the ATF is trying to figure out where the gun was purchased and who purchased the gun. Hopefully, they are at least hoping that that will track them back to whoever is responsible for this shooting. Again, 6 people are dead, 26 people hurt. And we know a vast majority suffered gunshot wounds, and the remaining sustained injuries as a result of the ensuing chaos at the parade. We do have some new videos that we do want to get to from the scene to really show exactly the chaos that ensued as a result of those shots being fired. We saw people just scrambling, pushing strollers. We know that on the scene, shoes were left behind. And let's just watch this for a second. You'll see people start running as that gunfire is then fired off.
I just recorded.
Now, what's even more sad about this video is that, I don't know if you could see that little tiny face there that was peering into the camera. This was captured by a child who was just innocently at that parade. It's being shared all over social media this afternoon. Let's watch it one more time. You'll see people start to run, and that's when those shots were fired. And a child, again, the person capturing just this horrific tragedy unfolding. I'm sure this child will never forget. Many people that were there, adults as well, children will never forget this tragic day in Highland Park. All right, and this is a second video that we have. All of this being shared on social media, showing the scene, the result of the scene after those shots were fired. It's just really tragic because it seems like, as soon as we hear about one mass shooting, the next thing you know, we're dealing with another one, and this one in Highland Park. Right now, we want to get back out live in Highland Park where we are hearing
And I
more from
apologize
police
for that
in this
delay.
update. Let's listen in.
We're going to start right away with Commander O'Neill, and then we have some representation. Coroner Jennifer Bannock, Lake County Coroner, is here, and we have representation from the FBI and State Police as well.
Commander O'Neill, Highland Park Police Department. Last name is O'Neill. As you know, an active investigation continues into the shooting at the Highland Park 4th of July parade. The parade route in downtown Highland Park and the central business districts remain an active crime scene. Therefore, we highly recommend that individuals living in this area to continue to shelter in place. This area entails Green Bay Road to Laurel Avenue to St. John's Avenue to Elm Place. The investigation and most law enforcement personnel are focused in this area. Individuals outside of this area no longer need to shelter in place. However, we urge everyone and anyone to remain vigilant and immediately report any suspicious behavior in the community. The Lake County Coroner is on scene assisting with the investigation. Highland Park Police are collaborating with the Lake County Major Crime Task Force, the FBI, the Illinois State Police, county and local law enforcement agencies throughout our area. While no one is in custody at this time, a very active apprehension effort is currently underway. Individuals with knowledge of the incident, persons of interest, including photo or video evidence from the scene or area, are encouraged to share them with the FBI by calling 1-800-CALL-FBI. That's 1-800-CALL-FBI. Regular updates are also being posted on the city website at www.cityhpil.com. Thank you. Coroner.
My name is Jennifer Bannock, Bravo Alpha November Echo Kilo. I'm calling with an update on the coroner's investigation. So far, there are 5 dead on the scene. Those decedents have been identified, and we are working on notification for those families. There is 1 additional decedent that was taken to a local hospital. Thank you.
All right, again, very active investigation, and we'll try to answer what questions we can without negatively impacting the investigation. I can tell you our investigators, in collaboration with the FBI and our federal partners, are making significant progress. So we're moving forward, and that's where we're at right now.
Deputy Chief, were you able to glean anything off the gun that was left, numbers or anything that leads back to where this might have come from?
The gun is certainly being heavily investigated by the ATF, our federal partners, and we are working on that aspect.
Can you tell us what kind of gun it was at this point?
Right now, what we're saying is it's a high-powered rifle. Beyond that, I'm not going to go into much more. Eventually, we will. When we feel comfortable releasing that information without giving out information we don't want out there at this point, we will put that out.
This is a question for Bannock.
Yes.
Can you tell us exactly, you said you were able to identify them. Are they children? Do the ages range?
I can tell you that the decedents on scene were adults.
Is there an update on how many are victims at the hospital? Or it might be more than 2,000 at this point?
So my name is Joe Schrage. I'm the fire chief for the city of Highland Park. So on scene, we transported 10 to Highland Park Hospital, 6 to Lake Forest Hospital, and then 7 to Evanston Hospital.
In addition to that, there were walk-ins at different hospitals, people that self-transported and drove themselves. So the numbers are a little higher than the transports by fire.
Have you identified the gunman? Do you know who you're looking for at this point?
I can't get into that just yet.
Are we talking about multiple shooters or one shooter?
At this time, we have no indication to believe there was more than one. However, we're only hours after this occurred, so we don't want to narrow in, and we want to be very broad and look at this in totality.
Talk about how they're doing a search. Right now, there's 6 fully manned armored vehicles right down the street. Are they just waiting for tips, or are they going to go door to door?
So primarily, the SWAT teams and NIPUS, what they are doing is they have been evacuating people out of the buildings that have been in that contained 4 radius. Should the individual still be there, that is their primary focus at this point.
Can you clarify the number? I just want to clarify the number of those who are deceased. 5
were deceased on the scene were adults, and is there one
Do you want
more
to just-
who? Because
There were 5 on the scene, and they were all adults. And then there was one that was transported to a local hospital that also died at the hospital. I don't have any additional information on that victim.
including their age.
Not right now.
Can you go over that perimeter one more time? I think it's a really important piece of information.
Perimeter streets.
So currently we have a active crime scene in our central business district. The perimeter is Green Bay Road to Laurel Avenue, to St. John's Avenue, to Elm Place. And we have police personnel in that area continuing the investigation and clearing businesses and buildings.
Are there people still inside buildings at this hour? Do you know how many more you need to evacuate?
Some people chose to shelter in place and continue to do so. We are working with our law enforcement teams in that area to evacuate them. The Highland Park Police Department is the reunification site for family and friends. If anyone is separated parties, they can be directed to the Highland Park Police Department, and that's located at 1677 Old Deerfield Road in Highland Park, 60035.
So just to clarify, people outside of that investigation that seem like they do not need to shelter in place.
That's correct. That's correct. There's a heavy police presence in the area and in the community right now.
Were those who were transported to the hospital for any of the children? Was also all adults?
At least one of those was a child. Yeah.
Of deceased?
I don't know whether or not we transported, but do not know the outcome.
Do you know their condition when they were transported?
When they were transported, they were critically injured.
All of them?
Just the child.
The child.
I do. No, I was not given the age range. I'm sorry. We can get that too.
But the child was the one critically injured.
Yes.
What do the injuries range from in terms of those in the hospital right now?
So they were gunshot wounds, and it varied from abdomen to limbs and such. But the crews were on scene very quickly. There was bystanders as well that rendered aid as well. They were quick to tie tourniquets and do bleeding control, which definitely assisted the fire department on scene.
How long did the incident take place? Do you have any idea how many minutes it was?
Commander.
I'm sorry, can you repeat the
How
question?
long did the incident take place from the beginning of shooting to the end?
It was very quick. Gunfire was recognized in the area. Police units were actually already on scene for the parade in addition to fire personnel. So it was very expeditious. It was pretty quick, and then the offender had fled the scene.
Do you have any idea how many shots were fired?
I do not at this time. Numerous is what I can tell you right now.
Had your department, in wake of what we saw in Waukesha, Wisconsin, had your department trained for anything like this, or had meetings in terms of parade security after what we saw in Wisconsin?
Yes, the Highland Park Police Department has a high level of training. We historically, currently, and in the future will train in rapid deployment, rapid response. Also, rendering aid is a priority for our agency. And this morning that was done quickly. We were able to get medical personnel in quickly to start evacuating wounded parties. And that also included using police vehicles in addition to fire department ambulance vehicles. And many people self-transported too.
Just touching on that question, there's a high level of training for all agencies in Lake County, and I think that you're going to hear accounts of how quickly Highland Park Police Department responded and did exactly what they were supposed to do. But right now we want to focus on the victims and ensuring we're catching the offender.
Yeah, how he got onto the roof.
So the roof was a business, and it looks like access to the roof via a ladder in an alley was unsecure.
Fire escape is own ladder, or the ladder was there already?
A ladder that's attached to the building. All right, we can take 2 more.
Is there any reason to believe that the suspect is in that perimeter that y'all are currently investigating right now?
That's what we're still working on determining. We've had dozens of police canines out here, drones, and other technology we're using to locate and see if it can assist us in the investigation.
Any further details on a suspect description or vehicle description?
Not at this time. That initial description does stand. All right. We'll shoot for about 4:15 for the next briefing. Thank you.
All right, so the next update will happen at 4:15 this afternoon, roughly. But we do want to recap what we learned from law enforcement and also first responders on that scene. They believe this gunman acted alone, and you just heard that the shooter accessed the roof of a business via a ladder that was attached to the building. And as of right now, that shooter is still not in custody. An active search for the shooter is underway. If you do believe you have video that may have some details as to who this shooter is, or maybe pictures, or maybe even surveillance, don't hesitate to pick up your phone. The littlest thing, the smallest thing may help police solve this. So this is 1-800-CALL-FBI. That is the number you can call. We did hear from the Lake County coroner, Jennifer Bannock. She said that 5 people are dead, all adults. They are notifying family, and 1 was transported to the hospital, also an adult. We also heard from the fire chief saying that out of the people that they transported, 23 people transported to the hospitals. 1 was a child critically injured with gunshot wounds. They've seen people with gunshot wounds, shots to the abdomen and limbs, and bystanders stepped in applying tourniquets. Let's go to Anthony Ponce. He is live there on the scene, and we'll have much more in terms of details of exactly what we just heard from first responders and law enforcement. Anthony?
Yeah, T, I want to start with what has changed between the previous update and the one we just heard, and that is the shelter-in-place order for the community of Highland Park. It has been lifted unless you live within the confined area of Green Bay Road to Laurel Avenue to St. John's to Elm Place. I'm going to run through that once again. Unless you live within the following perimeter, you don't need to worry about sheltering in place. Green Bay Road to Laurel to St. John's to Elm Place. If you're not within that quadrant, you don't need to worry about sheltering in place at this point. Right now, law enforcement is focusing its search efforts within that perimeter. Sergeant Covelli just said that the SWAT teams that are here in the area are going building to building, and they're searching those buildings thoroughly and clearing any occupants of those central business district buildings that may have been hiding and sheltering in place in those. But they're methodically going through those buildings within that confined central business district in Highland Park. But if you're not within that district, you don't need to worry about sheltering in place at this point. That being said, no one is in custody this afternoon. He said that the latest suspect description stands. I'll run through that again, too. 18 to 20-year-old male, white, a small build with long black hair, last seen wearing either a blue or a white T-shirt. He is considered armed and dangerous. They're not sure of his whereabouts right now as the investigation into his whereabouts continues, and authorities also continue to process what they describe as a massive crime scene, where the updated number there is 23 people now transported to hospitals. One of them, as Tia mentioned, is described as a child. We don't have the child's exact age, but the police chief, Chief O'Neill here in Highland Park, said that child suffered critical injuries. He was critically injured on his or her way to the hospital. Of the 5 people that were pronounced dead on the scene at the parade itself, the Lake County coroner described all of them as adults. No ages on those adults. Those families are pending notification right now. And there was an additional person who was pronounced dead later at a hospital, also described as an adult. So those are the latest details from the most recent update here outside of Fire Station 33 in Highland Park. Tia, for now, I'll send things back to you in the studio.
All right, Anthony, thank you so much. We do want to talk a little bit more about those people that were injured as a result of this shooting in Highland Park. Let's go to Dane Placco with more on that. Dane?
Yeah, here we're at the Highland Park Police Department right now, which is the place where they've been holding as a reunification center. You may have heard some of the earlier news conferences today. During the shooting, a number of people, families, lost touch of one another. People were running, scrambling in every direction. So they set aside this building, the Highland Park Police Department, as a reunification center. We're a pretty good distance away from the shooting scene. We're actually west of 41. All the activity The law enforcement activity right now is going on east of 41. We got here about 45 minutes ago. It's unclear whether there's any people here inside. They're not allowing us to go inside. Are waiting for loved ones or waiting to be reunited. What we have seen are a lot of people from the community who are volunteering to bring in food and sandwiches and refreshments for the police officers. That has been happening consistently here during the 45 minutes or so that we've been at the Highland Park Police Department. We also talked to a gentleman by the name of Jonathan Bernberg, a Highland Park resident who lives just a couple blocks from where the shooting occurred. He and his family were at the parade earlier today. He came here to the police department because he was wondering whether he could get some help from an officer in checking out his home. They've been away from their home all throughout the day, and they're concerned because if the gunman is still on the loose, that they may have some open sheds or somewhere in their home that possibly the gunman could be hiding out. He was looking for some help from the police department to go back home with him and clear things out before he brings his family back. Let's hear a little bit from Mr. Bernbach.
It's very scary, and just the whole neighborhood, because we live just a couple blocks from downtown where it happened. So it's a very scary thought just to think about the community and our house of being somewhere that you don't feel safe right now. We were just a half a block. We heard the first round of noise that we later learned was gunshots. Everybody kind of froze, but people, I think, at that moment were still just assuming or hoping that it was fireworks. Just a few seconds later, we heard the second burst of gunfire. And at that point, everybody started running. It was obviously chaotic. Our family got a little bit separated, but luckily we're friends, we're neighbors, and everybody was just grabbing kids. First, we went into a coffee shop because we assumed that everything was over. And then we heard police telling everyone, you need to keep going, it's not safe. So we luckily at a friend's house a block away, and we've been there for the past 5 or 6 hours.
And he, like a lot of people here in Highland Park, have been unable to get back home. There is a large police presence in the downtown area in particular. There are checkpoints, block points. As we moved over here to the police station from the hospital earlier, we could see a massive police presence, especially in the area around the fire department, which appears to be being used as more of a staging area for the investigation. That's where all the SWAT teams were. Here at the Highland Park Police Department, as we say, it looks like just the administrative folks are here, a few police officers coming and going, but not a lot of activity at this scene. Again, this was the reunification center for families that got split up during the chaos earlier today. At this point, it's unclear whether anybody is still waiting to be reunified inside. So, live at the Highland Park Police Department, Dane Placco, Fox 32 Chicago. I'll throw it back to you for now.
Thank you so much for that, Dane. And we want to go back to Casey Cronus. She's at 2nd and Elm. She's near where the parade actually stepped off. And Casey, I know when we last spoke, you talked about seeing the SWAT team, and it appeared that they were going building to building. Is that still the case out there right now?
That's right, Tia. SWAT members are still going building to building, searching and clearing those sites and letting some people out who have been sheltering their inside businesses for the last several hours since this shooting all unfolded. We're showing you a shot right now down the street where you see those large tactical units. That is closer to where the parade was unfolding and where that shooting actually happened. There's a group of SWAT members that just came out of a business. They've been kind of going business to business. There is also a construction site here. Looks like this is going to be an apartment building. We have seen some tactical teams inside this apartment building. Just a couple of minutes ago, 2 of those SWAT officers left the building. It's unclear if there are any more officers inside. We know they were using this as kind of a place to have a vantage point to look out from downtown earlier today. But right now, still a very active scene here. And some people are, again, being let out of these businesses now. We've seen some people going back to their cars and, just kind of getting out of here. We do want you to hear from one man we spoke with just just a little while ago who was at the parade. He said he was supposed to bring his grandson, but it didn't work out for his grandson to come earlier today because a family member tested positive for COVID. And he's so grateful for that because he was just feet away from where those shots rang out. And he describes for us as he went to a nearby gas station and was barricaded inside for 3 hours with about a dozen other people. We want you to hear from him now.
I thought I heard a number of loud sounds that I thought were a car misfiring or a one of these kind of circus cars that might have been in the parade backfiring, but it kept on going and going. And then unfortunately from right down the block here, I heard the screams of all the people that were being shot and people frantically picking up their children, their chairs, and there were a lot of chairs left. Most of them just picked up their children and took off.
And where the parade was and where the shooting unfolded, there are purses, coolers, bicycles, little children's bicycles, chairs just left because in that moment of chaos, everybody just picked up and ran. Now, that man who you just heard from says as he was inside the gas station, the clerk had locked the door, so they felt secure in the location where they were, but they were in there for about 3 hours, and there were several children inside that gas station convenience store as well. They were absolutely distraught, he says, until some of the moms started singing Wheels on the Bus to try to calm them down. Now, I do also want to mention this has been extremely difficult on the police force here as well. As we were closer to the parade route, we saw an officer exiting the scene, and he looked at the media members and he said, "Kiss your kids tonight." Tia?
Yeah, just a tragic day for Highland Park, tragic day for our state, and tragic day for our country. Another mass shooting in this country. I just don't know. All right, let's talk about what we're expecting now. It is 3:47 this afternoon, but at 4:15, we're expecting an update from Highland Park Police. We're also expecting to hear from the doctors who have treated a majority of these patients at North Shore Hospital. That update is supposed to come at 4:30 this afternoon. Okay, so let's recap here and talk a little bit about what we heard in the most recent update from police and also the fire department. The fire chief for Highland Park saying that they transported 10 people to Highland Park Hospital, 6 people went to the hospital, 7 went to Evanston hospitals, 23 in total taken to area hospitals. 1 was a child. We don't know the gender or the age of that child, but we were told that that child was critically injured as a result of this shooting. In terms of the injuries of those who were taken to the hospital, gunshot wounds, people were shot in the abdomen, and also their limbs were impacted by the shooting. Bystanders, actually, many of them stepped in, applying tourniquets to those people that were injured. And let's talk about what we know in terms of the shooter. There's still an active search. There is no one in police custody right now, but police are definitely searching for this man, described to be as a white male, 18 to 20 years old, with a small build, long dark hair. Long dark hair is what we keep hearing, white or blue shirt at last check. And we do know that he was discreetly above a business on the business's rooftop. And we were told that he got access to that roof's business as a result of a ladder that was attached to the building. The ATF is searching the gun because it was left behind. It's described as a high-powered rifle. And as of right now, we know tracing is going on right now to determine exactly where that weapon was purchased and who is the person that purchased it. In terms of those that were tragically killed as a result of this parade today, 5 people are dead. We know that families are being notified. They are all adults. Those 5 people died on the scene. 1 was transported to a hospital and died at the hospital. That is the latest information that we have heard from first responders on the scene as of right now. Again, we are expecting another update. All of this happened at around 10:15 this morning. That is when the Highland Park 4th of July parade stepped off in Highland Park's business district. And within 10 minutes of this parade stepping off, that is when we know those shots were fired coming from the top of that business onto spectators and also parade participants. And you heard from Casey Cronus there, who just told us that she saw in the scene for herself, and you see it right here in that video: chairs left behind, strollers left behind, purses left behind, people left behind their shoes as they had to run for their lives. Something so innocent that we've all done. We've all gone to a 4th of July parade or festivity. It doesn't matter if it was in Highland Park, the city of Chicago, wherever. And it's a place you go and you never think twice. You never think that something like this is going to happen. But here we are talking about it on today. We did just get a statement. We've heard from a lot of people today. We've heard from the governor. We've heard from Lieutenant Governor Juliana Stratton. We've heard from the President of the United States, Joe Biden. And now we are hearing from the White Sox. They have submitted a statement as a result of what happened in Highland Park today. I'll just read some of it. Our hearts are with the Highland Park community. The entire Chicago White Sox organization expresses our deepest sympathies to the families and friends of the innocent victims of today. This horrific shooting, and all of those who have been affected by this tragedy. After consulting with Major League Baseball, tonight's scheduled game against Minnesota will take place at 7:10. However, the post-game fireworks celebration is canceled. A moment of silence will be held before the start of today's game. And we have heard that from other surrounding communities, that the fireworks shows that were intended, that were supposed to step off tonight, are canceled. Here's just a list. I don't have every single community, but here's just some of the communities where we know the fireworks shows are canceled. The city of Rolling Meadows, Libertyville, Winnetka, that's just a few. And also Evanston, I believe as well, have canceled their fireworks show as a result of this tragedy. And we're just getting in. I just heard from the newsroom that Oak Park has decided to cancel their fireworks show as well. Just tragic, because, you know, this is a day where we all look forward to having a good time with our families and friends. And sadly, it has ended like this. And I think it's a day that we will never forget. Definitely in the state of Illinois, we will never forget this 4th of July of 2022. We do have some other news, and this coming from our weather department. Let's get to meteorologist Emily Walsh. She's been tracking some storms that have been brewing in our area. Emily?
Yeah, we've been dealing with some pretty strong to severe thunderstorms across portions of the area throughout the afternoon. As of right now, all of the warnings that you're seeing highlighted here, they're just outside of the viewing area. We have some that are just south of LaSalle and Grundy, and then we also have a warning that is just northwest of DeKalb County. So for us right now, no severe thunderstorm warnings. We don't have any tornado warnings, but we're not done with the storms just yet. We still have storms, especially in the far southern extent of the viewing area. Some showers now taking.
At North Shore Hospital will give us an update on some of the people that they've seen and that they've treated there. We also just got word from Governor J.B. Pritzker's office that there will be an update that will happen at 5.
We don't know exactly who was filming where and when, but they could have caught images of him climbing up the ladder or walking to the back of the building where the shooting took place, getting him coming away from the scene. Obviously, he didn't stay. He wasn't apprehended. If you look back to the Boston Marathon bombing a few years ago, it was cell phone video and surveillance video from local businesses that caught the two bombers actually planning the devices along the parade route and to their apprehension. So it's like anything in law enforcement, the public is actually so crucial and so important to solving many crimes.
That's a very good point. Can you outline for us what exactly would be going on the ground right now as investigators try to figure out who did this and where that person may be?
Sure. There's several phases to the investigation that are being conducted independently, but in close coordination with each other. Obviously, there's an active search for the shooter. I don't know what leads they have. I'm sure there are some that they're following up on quite aggressively. There's a crime scene, a fairly extensive crime scene that needs to be processed, not only along the parade route where the victims were shot, but that rooftop where the shooter stationed himself is going to be a wealth of information. Not only was the weapon supposedly recovered there as well, but there's going to be spent shell casings, and you don't know what else he might have left behind. Disguises, writings, claims of responsibility. In the heat of the moment, he could have left his phone behind. So that's a very crucial area to be searched as well. Plus, you're still securing statements from witnesses, from victims that are able to speak, what they saw, what they heard, making sure that there was just one shooter, and that appears to be the case right now.
You know, Ross, one thing Highland Park did was right away they called in the FBI. Can you talk about what extra resources they actually bring to an effort like this, which such a huge, crime scene, and also an investigation that's ongoing as they look for the shooter?
Well, there's three things that the Bureau can bring to a case like this. First is manpower. Chicago is one of the largest offices in the FBI, both in terms of agents and task force officers that are assigned to different projects within the building. So they can bring a lot of resources to bear very quickly. Second, they have a nationwide reach. We have no idea who the shooter is. We have no idea where he is right now. He could have come from out of state. He could have fled the state. So having that nationwide, even international reach is so crucial. And the expertise of conducting investigations on cases like this is extremely important. I think a key element of solving the crime is going to be digital evidence, digital footprint that the shooter's left behind, either on social media, through emails, through his cell phone. There's going to be something out there that's going to lead to his identification. And in all likelihood, it's going to come from review of digital evidence.
We talked about the ATF trying to track down where that firearm came from, but we also heard from police saying that they were going to look at the shell casings. What evidence may lie there?
You'll be able to tell if one weapon was involved. Again, we've been told that a weapon was recovered. We have to assume that that's the weapon that was used by the shooter. If the shell casings match that weapon and there's nothing else, then we know there was one shooter and one weapon. If there's multiple shell casings, different calibers, different types, then that's going to expand the investigation significantly.
That's a good point, because they did recover what they're calling a high-powered rifle, but we don't know if any other weapons may have been used in this. Ross Rice, before we let you go, anything else you think is important as this investigation continues?
Well, there's so many things that we don't know right now, Tia, and I don't think the investigators even know everything right now. They're trying to put it together. But the cooperation of the public for anyone that was at the parade today is so crucial. You may not have seen anything or realize that you've seen anything or recorded something. Take a look at your cameras, take a look at your cell phones, see what images are there, and leave it to the authorities to make the determination about what's important, what's relevant, and what isn't. Don't try and do that yourself.
Absolutely. All right. Former FBI Special Agent Ross Rice, thank you so much for lending us your expertise here as we try to sort all of this out of this tragic day in Highland Park. Thank you so much.
You're welcome, Tia.
All right, let's go to Casey Cronus. She is live still at 2nd and Elm. And I know, Casey, the last time we spoke, you saw a scene there with the SWAT, what was presumably a SWAT team, and then they brought out someone on a stretcher covered. Has there been anything else that's changed since you've been out there on the scene?
Hey, Tia, so we've moved to Central and Green Bay Road, a little bit closer to where the shooting all unfolded. After we saw one person being taken on a stretcher, they were covered. Presumably, it was one of the victims who was pronounced dead here at the scene, because shortly thereafter we saw a second body being moved on a stretcher. You know, in situations like this, when there are victims that are pronounced dead at the scene, sadly, they have to investigate, and they must kind of leave everything in place as it is. So it's presumed that those people on those stretchers were two of the victims. A very painful day here, of course, for the community and for the first responders who are out on the scene. It is raining right now, so the scene has come to a little bit of a standstill. We have been seeing SWAT officers continue to go from building to building. There are a lot of businesses, of course, in this downtown area, so SWAT units have been going inside and just clearing the buildings, because they are, of course, still looking for the gunman. Before it started raining, just just about 10 minutes ago, we did see 4 FBI agents uniformed on the ground. They were just kind of walking around, assessing the scene, looking for any evidence they may find. FBI is here, state police is here, and dozens of nearby agencies all on hand
All right,
here
Casey,
to assist.
I'm sorry that I have to cut you off, Casey. We do have an update from police, and we want to listen in right now.
Again, my name is Lou Jogman, Loujogmen, and I'm the Chief of Police for the City of Highland Park, Illinois. On behalf of the city, we extend our condolences to the family and friends of the loved ones who were impacted by this horrific incident that took place in Highland Park this morning. Our investigators have been working tirelessly on this active shooter investigation. Through law enforcement partnerships and community information and leads, a person of interest has been identified. His name is Robert Bobby E. Crimo, Crimo III. He is 22 years of age. He is believed to be driving a 2010 silver Honda Fit vehicle, license plate, Illinois, D. David M. Mary 80653. We have numerous federal, state, and local law enforcement agencies working on apprehending this person of interest. We continue to receive tips from the public and law enforcement partners, and we are following up on every one of them. Individuals who have information to share with the police are urged to contact 1-800-CALL-FBI. Thank you.
Quickly try to answer some questions. Please understand that we have teams out very actively trying to apprehend this individual. He is considered armed and dangerous. Community should not approach him. If they see him, know his whereabouts, see the vehicle, dial 911. We are considering him very dangerous.
Was it the gun, or what led you to this guy's name?
I can't get into that yet, but investigative leads have led us to this point.
Yep.
Where is he from?
At this time, we're just going to give you the name and license plate information. We're concerned about everybody's safety. So Robert E. Crimo, Crimo III, 22 years of age, believed to be driving a 2010 silver Honda Fit, Illinois license plate, D. David and Mary 80653.
Are there any updates to the shelter in place? I know that there were some changes regarding the perimeter.
Okay, let me take
Yeah, go ahead.
So what we said in our last update, that stands. The main area, those 4 square blocks, we're asking people just to remain extra diligent, stay there. We'll get police escorts outside of there. Be very vigilant. This person is on the loose. We're working to try to figure out if he is local or if he is taken off to another area. We have multiple teams doing that right now. So we give our law enforcement some time to do their job and try to apprehend him safely.
Where's he from?
He's from the area.
From Highland Park?
From this area. We'll have more on that later. Additionally, we will have photos going out shortly of him and a similar vehicle that he is believed to be driving.
What's the first letter of his last name?
C. Charles Crimo.
Do you have any updates on those that were separated from families?
We don't have updates. Again, the reunification post at the Highland Park Police Department is still there. Anybody that's been separated or looking for family, they should be going there.
That was a silver Honda
Fit.
Can you say it again, the whole name and the like?
You want to give him a better job than me?
His name is Robert. He goes by Bobby. Middle initial E is in Edward. Crimo, Crimo III. He's 22. And again, he's believed to be driving a 2010 silver Honda Fit, Illinois license DM 80653. Okay, about an hour, 6 o'clock, we'll be back up with more updates, and we'll let you know how our apprehension efforts are going. Thank you.
Where's the governor going to be at that meeting?
6 o'clock, we believe.
That's a Honda.
All right, so we just got an update from police, and we're learning more about the person that they are actively looking for. We know that this person is 22 years old. His name is Robert E. Crimo. He goes by the name Bobby. He is from the Highland Park area, last seen driving a 2010 silver Honda Fit, and the license plate is right there on your screen. It's with an Illinois license plate of D as in dog, M as in Mary, 80653. If you know anything about him, you know anything about his whereabouts, don't hesitate to call 1-800-CALL-FBI. So that is the very latest information that we're hearing from police. Again, they are looking for Robert E. Cremo III, who goes by the name Bobby. Let's go to Anthony Ponce. He's live right there where we just got this update. Anthony?
Tia, we have been getting updates from Sergeant Chris Covelli from the Lake County Major Crimes Task Force all afternoon, about every hour. This was the most significant one we've had in a couple of hours, as they announced that they are searching for a person of interest. They are about to spread photos of Bobby Cremo, this 22-year-old person of interest, in moments. That's what Sergeant Covelli just said. They're about to get photos out of the suspected vehicle involved. Again, that 2010 silver Honda Fit with Illinois plates. And again, photos of Bobby E. Cremo, Robert E. Cremo, 22 years old. He is said to be from the area. We don't know specifically whether he is a Highland Park resident, but Sergeant Covelli did say that he is here from the area. He is considered to be armed and dangerous. One thing we want to reiterate is if you do see that vehicle or see anyone matching his description, which again is he's said to be white, longer hair, and a small build, or that vehicle, the silver Honda Fit, do not approach him. Just call 911. Don't approach the car. Dial 911. Again, he is considered to be armed and dangerous as this manhunt continues. They don't know whether he has remained here in the northern suburbs or if he is elsewhere at this point. But again, to reiterate here, the license plate number, it's an Illinois plate, DM80653. DM80653. Person of interest here, 22-year-old Robert E. Bobby Cremo, a young man from this area, right now on the loose, and we're standing by for photos. Tia, we will get those sent into the newsroom as soon as the police department up here releases those. But again, person of interest, they are actively searching for this young man from the area right now. That is the latest from Highland Park. Anthony Ponce, Fox 32, Chicago.
Anthony, before we let you go, do you get the impression that this person described to be this white male known as Robert Bobby E. Cremo, do you get the impression that he's in the area still? Or is that hard to say based on the information you just got from police?
We asked if he's still in the area, if he's left. The police chief here in Highland Park doesn't know anything about the whereabouts of this vehicle or this young man. So they didn't speculate whether he has stayed local or gone somewhere else. But one thing that they did say that may provide a little bit of an indication is if you are still within that window, that 4-block radius, they do want you to keep sheltering in place and be vigilant. That's what he said. Be vigilant. If you're in that that confined area, again, I'll give those coordinates. St. John's Avenue to the east, Green Bay Road to the west, Laurel Avenue to the south, and then Elm Place. If you are in that quadrant, be vigilant, stay in place. If you're not in that confined area, that shelter-in-place order is no longer in effect as this manhunt continues for this person of interest here.
All right. Of course, we will continue to update people on this story and bring you his photo as soon as we get it. Can we bring up the information of what we have on this person of interest right now? There it is right there on your screen. This is what we know. His name is Robert E. Cremo III, also goes by Bobby. He is 22 years old, last seen driving that vehicle described to be a silver 2010 Honda Fit with an Illinois license plate of DM80653. He is described to also be a white male. And what we know is that he has long, dark hair, last seen wearing a white or blue shirt, and he was also carrying a yellow bag. Of course, all of those details about what he had on at the time, that could have changed since this did happen at 10:14 this morning. But this is an active search. The FBI is involved. If you know anything about this Robert E. Cremo III, considered to be a suspect in a mass shooting that happened at the Highland Park 4th of July parade, don't hesitate to pick up your phone and call 1-800-CALL-FBI. That is the very latest information that we at least have on the suspect. We do know that he used a high-powered rifle. That is what it is being described as. The ATF is tracing that firearm right now to see exactly at least where it was purchased and if this Cremo person is the person that purchased that weapon. We also know that they are trying to figure out where those shell casings came from as well. So where those bullets would have been purchased, as we know that 6 people are dead and several others shot. That is the very latest information that we have right now. But again, an active search going on. And of course, we'll continue to update you on this newscast about what unfolded in Highland Park. Let's talk about the weather. That's another big story. We've been tracking storms. We've seen it actually raining in Highland Park. Emily, what's the latest on our weather story here at home?
Well, as of right now, we do not have any active warnings across the area. So previously this afternoon, we had severe thunderstorm warnings. We actually had a tornado warning in southwestern LaSalle County. But again, no active warning at this time. But we do have quite a bit of rain that we're still dealing with. We have showers coming down in northwestern Indiana. These are going to continue to drop to the south and the east. But now what we're keeping a close eye on is this broken line of storms that's moving through the north and northwest suburbs. So zooming things in, previously, only about 10-15 minutes ago, we had a severe thunderstorm warning for DeKalb County. That has since expired, but this is still a really strong storm that's moving through. We have torrential downpours, gusty winds, but they're not quite meeting that severe criteria, which is right around 60 miles per hour. But still, gusty winds coming out of this. So for those of you in St. Charles, this is going to be heading your way momentarily with kind of that wall of rain moving in. And this is just going to continue to drop to the southeast, right around 30 to 35 miles per hour. So some arrival times for you, Batavia right around 5:15, Sugar Grove around 5:20, Aurora right around 5:26, as long as this storm continues to hold together. Zooming things back out, once again, no active warnings at this time, but we're going to continue to be on watch as we go throughout the afternoon, the evening hours, and tonight as well. So we do have a severe thunderstorm watch that's in effect for all of the highlighted counties here through about 7 p.m., but there's still going to be the potential of at least a couple stronger severe thunderstorms even as we go into the overnight hours. So Futurecast will time things out for you by 7, 8 p.m. Most of us are seeing a nice break in the activity, but still a couple stronger cells may be possible. Models are now indicating that the worst of it may be passing mainly to our north and east. But for those of you in McHenry, Lake counties, possibly by midnight, we're seeing some of those strong to severe thunderstorms rolling through. So again, we're not completely out of the woods just yet. By daybreak tomorrow, most of us are drying things out, and much of tomorrow actually looks really nice in terms of sky conditions, but we'll see another round of rain moving in as we go into tomorrow night. That could be severe. So the Storm Prediction Center has us in a slight risk, meaning scattered severe storms are going to be possible. But it's not just tonight that we're stuck with the storms. We're going to be dealing with this as we go into our day tomorrow too. So tomorrow night, we once again have a slight risk, which means those scattered severe storms are going to be possible. And even as we advance this into Wednesday, we still have the potential of strong to severe thunderstorms. So it's going to be kind of a long week, a very stormy week. But I know on the 7-day forecast, you're going to see it and it's going to look like it's going to be raining all of the time. That's not the case. In fact, tomorrow we're looking at sunshine. It's the storms at nighttime that we're more concerned about, and basically same thing as we go into our Wednesday. So our temperatures right now, for those of you that may have plans throughout the evening hours, we're in the upper 70s and low 80s. We have that rain-cooled air now in Gary, 75 degrees, 77 in Woodstock. O'Hare now at 81. It's 80 in Joliet. And we're now at 79 degrees in Morris. Now, our weather headlines tomorrow, it's going to be very, very hot. We're going to have a heat index between 105 and 110. So we do have heat advisories that are going into effect at noon tomorrow until 8 p.m. because of those high heat index values. And then Tuesday night, we're turning our attention back to storms again. Severe storms are going to be possible Tuesday night. Same thing as we go ahead and.
Man, hey, what's going on, everybody? For those who are new to the channel, this is Nathan Daly, and I'm your law enforcement translator. Listen, I'm a 13-year law enforcement veteran, you guys, here to provide insight on these difficult topics. As we see now, this horrific incident, another mass shooting. Listen, guys, there's a lot to talk about. There's a lot to discuss. First, before I get into all that, listen, let me thank everybody in the chat right now. I really appreciate you, really appreciate the support. Thank you so much for those who have donated already. We've got this thing cooking. Shout out to the new members who have joined the channel. I really appreciate you guys. It goes a long way. We stay very vigilant over here. We do not censor voices over here. All I ask is that you be respectful to the chat. Now, listen, if you want to come towards me and have some issues, I don't mind. I'll ask you to come up and and stand behind your words. You guys, over here, we do facts over feelings, right? We take our emotions out of these things because that's one of the biggest problems facing this country. And so, listen, I have a photo of the suspect, I believe to be the suspect, but I don't want to put it up on here until they verify. He has tattoos on his neck, tattoo over the eye. He is a gamer, it looks like. I'm not surprised. You know, some of these guys are online on the computer, and you know, they do these shooting games and things like that. We see unfortunately a pattern with the psychosis of these mass shooters. There's a lot going on, you guys. Politics is rooted in all of this. At the end of the day, what we do know is that they're going to use this and politicize this. Of course, it's not so much about the people as much as about the guns, as much as it about the getting voted in. And so there's a lot of politics that's going to be rooted behind this tragedy. And it's very, very sad and it's very unfortunate. Shout out to KT for the super sticker. Thank you so, so much. I want to dive back behind some of these old super chats. I didn't get a chance to reach out. Shout out to Freedom. And thank you so much, Freedom, for joining the channel. Welcome to this channel, you guys. Listen, if you want to be a part of this journey, you guys, we have a large group and it's growing. I really, really appreciate the support. Please take a look at the content. We have very, very tough discussions over here. And again, we do not censor over here. I answer questions. Don't shy away from them. And again, in reference to this situation, you guys, go ahead and get your questions started. You know how we do this. For those who are unfamiliar, when we do a live stream like this, live events, I make sure you guys get your questions answered. If there's anything that I can answer with the experience I do have, I will answer it. If I don't have the answer to it, I know exactly where to lead you to get that answer. If you are going to ask a question, I ask that you put a Q in front of the question. So as I'm scrolling through, I'll catch it, and I'll try my best to catch all of them, you guys. Again, thank you again for those who are supporting. I really, really appreciate it. And Freedom, welcome to the channel. And welcome. Lucchese, thank you so much for your support as well, always. This is also a lifelong member here. She's always supporting. Thank you so much, Lucchese. Shout out to one of my awesome supporters as well, S-Ed. She is one of our wrench carriers. She handles a lot of the business in the chat. So thank you so much for being here on short notice. I really appreciate it. Broccoli Brock, I appreciate this comment as well, brother. Thank you so much for this. Listen, you guys, let's dive into the content. What is going on, you guys? The police, they're doing a great job investigating. I definitely will give them that. Chicago, unfortunately, is known for their mass shootings. Every major holiday, I'm shocked to see it pop off this early. This is very tragic. 6 people died, over 25 injured. This is extremely sad, to be completely honest with you. I fear that the worst is to come at night. There will be more shootings in Chicago. It's very unfortunate. So please, and other major cities, we know that to be a fact. So a couple things happened. I have a photo. I'm not going to put it up until the news confirms it. I feel pretty strongly about it. This suspect has multiple tattoos, a tattoo under the eye. Allegedly, I think that's one of the things that they're saying. So we'll see. I don't want to throw up any false information though, before I put it up. I will put a photo up of the vehicle though, if anyone's curious to know what the actual car looks like. I mean, you can Google it, but for the sake of it, I'll probably put a photo up. Happy 4th of July, everyone. Sorry that this thing had started off so tragic. Please pray for the family. You know, we just have to keep moving forward. I put a poll in the chat out of curiosity. Do you believe less restriction on gun laws would make a difference? Will it reduce mass shootings? And so far, what did you guys say? 28% of you guys said yes, and 72% said no. That's 100 people so far that voted. We have 123 watching. That's a pretty awesome. Thank you guys so much for taking that poll. I really appreciate it. 72 said no, you guys. And you're probably right. Will it reduce mass shootings? No. Last year, we had over 600 mass shootings in this country alone. 600 mass shootings. And how many gun deaths did we have? 45,000 people died from gun violence just in general in 2021, and 692 Mass shootings, you guys. A lot of people don't know what a mass shooting is. By definition, a mass shooting is when 4 or more people have been shot with a gun. You don't have to die for it to constitute as a mass shooting. You just need to be shot more than 4. That is a mass shooting, you guys. We have had 692 in 2021. That's a fact. And so this is stats from the gunviolencearchive.org. You guys who are not familiar with that, this is one of the many data sites that I use to do research and provide information to the streams, you guys. And so let's get into these questions. Question: do we need to create a profile for white mass shooters? I think so. Absolutely. There already, depending on what you mean by profile, there is the problem though, it's hard to create a profile because, as I said, with mass shooting, the definition is 4 or more people shot. So there is a profile for people who are most likely to create. Well, here we go. I stand corrected. It is the suspect. You guys, let's take a look at this real quick. Let's dive back into the stream. Jesus Christ.
Make sure you pick up your phone
Yeah,
and
this is
dial
him.
911. So again, that is the image of who police are actively searching for. That is the picture of Robert E. Cremo, who goes by the name Bobby. He is from the Highland Park area, and police are actively searching for him. They did not indicate if they thought he was still in the area or not. That was not very clear. But what was clear is that this is a serious investigation. They're looking everywhere, hoping that they find the person that you see on your screen. Looks like he has a tattoo underneath his right eye. And as you can see, he does have
that's him.
Dark colored hair. If you know anything about his whereabouts, if you do know Robert Cremo III, and you know anything about what unfolded and how he may have played a role in this.
This is the guy, you guys. This is the
Now,
guy.
let's go back to Anthony Paul. He was there when police just gave us this photo, just gave us this information on Robert Cremo III. Any new updates you can give us now, Anthony, on this person of interest?
Nothing new. So you guys, this is him. This is the guy. I didn't want to release this photo of him. I was actually, while this was playing in the background, what I was doing was doing some research on him. You guys, listen, I'm not gonna lie. I have well, let me not say that. Let's just say that I was able to get this information. So here's the thing. He's a gamer, one of those typical gamers, right? Online gamer kind of thing. But regardless, this is him. This is a photo of him. The tattoos under the neck, skinny build. I don't know. There's a couple of photos that I have of him. I mean, we'll just go with this. Jay Black says, spill the beans. I can't release the sources, you guys. This is what makes my channel so valuable. 13 years with the law enforcement experience, you guys have access. I have access to things. But this is him. I mean, and he's driving a, what kind of car is he in? I mean, this is the car he's driving in. His mother's vehicle. You guys. His mother's vehicle. And I guarantee you, he lives at home with his mom. This is a mom's house right here. You look, this is a mother's home. I'm really curious to see what the backstory is behind him. To be honest, he looks disturbed. He looks disturbed. But I mean, we don't know, right? Tattoos on the hands, tattoos on the fingers. What do we see here? I mean, we can't, obviously, we're not going to be able to make out much of anything. But they said that he had a high-powered rifle. We can't really make out any tattoos on his face. I don't know what that is. But we know this is some flowers and things like that around the neck. I'm pretty sure he has possibly multiple tattoos across his chest. People talk about mental health and things like that. You know, there's no law, there's nothing you can do to a made up mind, you guys. When a mind is made up, that's it. That's it. When we talk about gun control, we talk about gun restrictions. What's the real issue? The real issue is criminals do not live by any type of rules or regulation or standards. You guys, that's the problem. The problem is laws affect law-abiding people. If you're not law-abiding, laws don't mean anything to you. They don't. They don't mean anything to you at all. That's the problem. You guys, I've dealt with so many criminals. They could care less about the law. They don't care. So creating extensive restrictions on citizens protecting themselves only hurt more citizens. Criminals are going to get guns regardless, whether you like it or not. That's a fact. Now they're building guns. Like, go figure. They're building them. They call them ghost guns, and they ship them individual parts, and you build it together like a Lego. You guys. So, you know, at the end of the day, will less restrictions reduce mass shooters? No. But what'll happen is people who are protected and can protect themselves can eliminate a threat faster than the police can arrive. Where they can eliminate a threat faster than the police can respond. Whereas instead, you have people who are constantly dying and becoming victims of a crazy individual. A citizen at the scene who's armed could address the threat and protect himself and protect others. So one would argue that no, it might not reduce, but you can reduce the lives being taken by mass shooters. That's a fact. The problem with this country, you guys, is that this country has gotten too comfortable. We think that everybody's supposed to save us. We're no longer trying to save ourselves. You have to protect yourself in this country. You are responsible for your own safety, period. People keep wanting to compare this country with other countries. You cannot. Why? The United States is too far gone. There's more guns than people in this country, damn near. You just can't. There's nothing you can do about it. It's too late. It's too late. This country is imploding on the inside. And the biggest threat in this country are the people who are in it, courtesy of our politicians. That's a fact. Where other countries are worried about issues from other countries, the United States is worried about people inside. We have more domestic grown terrorist groups in this country. The biggest threat to this country and the citizens are its own citizens. The violence in this country is through the roof. Through the roof. Yeah, of course. This is absolutely true. Where did this come from? Why are people losing their mind in this country? The anxiety. It's stressful to live here. You have your own government playing propaganda tactics on its own citizens for money, for profit, using race and racism and color to divide its own people. We're driving ourselves crazy, and people are making money off of it. Capitalism, absolutely. What is it? It's greed. We put people in power to fix the problem, and they make it worse because it's profitable. United States of America, no, divided states of America. The citizens who live in this country just want to be free and left alone. Yet we're constantly being played and toyed with and manipulated emotionally, psychologically in this country. This is a fact. And those who know, know. And the majority of the citizens are walking around with their eyes wide shut, running into walls. And the more you try to wake people up, the harder you try to wake them up, the more you rock them back to sleep. Those who know, know. That's the problem. It's sad, man. It's sad. There's a lot of amazing citizens in this country who just want to be happy. Just want to be happy. And we're constantly being toyed with in this country by our own people. And then here we have, more wicked and evil people being born, and they find reasons to take the lives of others when you could have easily gone somewhere and taken your own life. Why do you have to drag people down into your chaos? It's sick, man. Mass shootings, 690 mass shootings last year. This is ridiculous. Guns aren't the problem. People are, you guys. A gun is just a tool. A tool in the hand of a crazy person becomes a crazy tool. It's just that simple. People are mad at the gun. I have guns. My guns have never killed anybody. Why? Because the person holding that gun is a sane individual. Sane individual. What are your questions, you guys, about this situation? He should not have gotten away. I mean, I believe that the biggest problem in this situation here, I'm curious to know what the security system or the security setup looked like at this event. You guys, what is the problem here? We are living in a highly sensitive country right now. Highly sensitive. Highly, highly sensitive. Everybody's on edge. Everybody's absolutely on edge in this country. This parade, right? We had the Boston bomb situation, is a perfect example. You know, there's going to be a lot of people. These are soft targets. These are sensitive targets. They should have properly have been in place. Law enforcement should have been in place monitoring this event. Hell, you can't even go to church anymore without getting shot. Now when they have these massive gatherings, the police need to be present, right? Buildings and rooftops, those things need to be examined. People are saying, okay, well, how did he do it? How did he get around? How did he not get caught with the weapons and blah, blah, blah? Okay, cool. That's a legitimate question. There's a couple things you could do when you're a criminal and you're planning events like this. Sometimes you stage the scene. Sometimes you plant the weapon there the night before. He could have walked around and I've seen people carry weapons and rifles and gun cases, right? Very discreet. There's a band playing. He can blend right in. Goes to the roof with a little gun case with a guitar case. I'm sorry, a guitar case. Right? Blends right in. He could have taken that. He could have taken that rifle with him, put it back in the guitar case, and walked right out of there. I have video and clips from the shooting from the parade. I'm not going to play it on here because YouTube is highly sensitive. I think the problem is we're living in a dangerous country, but the country is trying to make you believe it's not dangerous. That's why people are panicking. Tell the people the truth. It's not safe out here. It's not safe in this country. The amount of people who get killed by accident from gunfire, from unintended targets, it's high, you guys. It's high. Throw your questions out, you guys. Throw your questions out. Put a Q in front of your question. Let me get to it. I wrote some things down. But I mean, you know, we can go back to the news and kind of see where they are in this investigation thus far. But that is a photo of him. Let me see. Let's see what they're talking about. Dealing with the psychology impact of today. So what are you guys' thoughts? If you have any questions, any direct questions in reference to this, I want to answer as much as I can as we wait for any additional updates. I don't think we have any major updates so far. Let's get the questions in. If I have not caught your question yet, please re-put it in. I may have missed. Obviously, I definitely missed it with the update with the shooter. Let's see what we have here. And then let's go Renado, see the examples for this thing. First question. Let's see. Hold on. What is she talking about?
Schneider, Senator Morrison, Representative Morgan, and ISP Director Brendan Kelly for joining us today. Your support and assistance is appreciated and critical at this difficult time. Our community, like so many before us, is devastated. It's impossible to imagine the pain of this kind of tragedy until you're confronted with it. Gun violence, a mass shooting such as this, casts a much wider net of agony than what the.
She's not saying nothing. But let me get to the questions. 'Cause I think we don't, until he's caught, we don't really want to hear much more. Unfortunately, we have you guys, those who are just getting in, we have 6 people killed, I believe 5 adults, 1 child who has died from this mass shooting. The shooter was on top of a roof during the parade, and he aimed a rifle down and shot multiple rounds into the crowd. It was loud, it was rapid fire. What else do we know? He left that rifle on the roof, surprisingly and suspiciously enough. He may have had other weapons up there. What else do we know? They're saying he's a white male. I brought a picture up earlier. Tattoos under the eye and the face. He goes by the name of Bobby Cremo III. So he's been identified. He got away in a Honda, a silver Honda Fit. So we do have updates. About approximately 25 people are injured, and so that's where we are as of now. So they have identified the shooter, but he has not been apprehended as of yet. So let's look at this question. Do you think the U.S. government and NATO set examples for this? That's a good question. To be honest, I can't answer that. What I will say though is, unfortunately, these things go deeper because these things are so interconnected, right? Money is always at the root of it. When you trace the dollars, you tend to trace and find the actual answers to these questions. And so there's money to be made by this. You know, when the shooting in Uvalde, Texas took place, that fear mongering that took place with politicians, the fear of guns being taken away, drove rifles and guns and handguns up 30% within like a day, right? There's always money to be made by these things. And unfortunately, that's just the game that they play in this country. But that's a good question. But I would not know the answer to that one. Too much trickery going on, to be completely honest. Throw your questions in front of your comment, please. Put a Q in front of your comment so I know to address the question directly. Someone said he could be under government mind control. Let's look what the governor has to say. Let's look what the governor. You didn't miss much, common man. You didn't miss too much. Let's see what the governor has to say.
The families of 6 individuals woke up today to join a community celebration of our nation's independence. They will go to bed tonight less than whole. There are no words for the kind of evil that shows up at a public celebration of freedom, hides on a roof, and shoots innocent people with an assault rifle. There are no words I can offer to lessen the pain of those families who will no longer associate the 4th of July with celebration, but instead with grief. Please know that our state grieves with you, that MK and I and our family grieve with you. It is devastating that a celebration of America was ripped apart by our uniquely American plague. A day dedicated to freedom has put into stark relief the one freedom we as a nation refuse to uphold, the freedom of our fellow citizens to live without the daily fear of gun violence. You know what I love about 4th of July? We celebrate the founding of this wonderful nation by gathering with family and friends and enjoying parades and fireworks. Our cameras on days like this are filled with messy faces and reckless smiles and pretty sunsets, an effort to bottle up that unique feeling of sun-filled joy. That's what evil took from us today. That's what gun violence robs us of, no matter the neighborhood or the city it erupts in. If you're angry today, I'm here to tell you, be angry. I'm furious. I'm furious that yet more innocent lives were taken by gun violence. I'm furious that their loved ones are forever broken by what took place today. I'm furious that children and their families have been traumatized. I'm furious that this is happening in communities all across Illinois and America. I'm furious because it does not have to be this way. And yet we as a nation, well, we continue to allow this to happen. While we celebrate the 4th of July just once a year, mass shootings have become our weekly, yes, weekly American tradition. There are going to be people who say that today is not the day, that now is not the time to talk about guns. I'm telling you, there is no better day and no better time than right here and right now. It's the 4th of July, a day for reflection on our freedom.
There you go. There you go. What'd I tell you? They can't help it. We got to talk about guns, 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 guns. Good question. Ghost House says, do you think he could be planning a last stand shootout? Absolutely. That's a strong possibility. I forgot what shooter that was. It was another shooter where he booby trapped his entire bedroom, right? And when the feds went into the window, they noticed he had like a tripwire. I can't remember what shooter that was. But yeah, I think that was he was a shooter from a I want to say a movie theater possibly. So yes, this is a problem, right? Absolutely. This is a potential issue, a potential problem, where of course they're going to take this in consideration that he could be staging to have a forward assault with law enforcement. That's a fact. Good question. Let me see. Man, always. Put a Q in front of your question so I can catch it scrolling down, you guys. Just in case. I don't want to miss it. What's the setup? Questions. What is this a setup? What's this setup? Let me see. Q. Lucky says the government and NATO are pushing. Oh, I mean, yeah, no, that's true. World War III. Do you think the pro-war propaganda matters? I think it does matter. War is profitable. There's always somebody that wins, right? There's always a winner in war, right? Those are the ones who you check the bank accounts, you find out who the winners are. Unfortunately, we live in a war where people are willing to let people die in order to, expand their financial gains and agenda. It's always been like that. You have people who financiers who are playing both sides of the fence. They win on both sides. Whether you're the winner or the loser, they still come out on top. It's sick, man. It's a sick game. It's a very sick game. But, what do you do? Right? We're pawns at the end of the day. We are all just pawns. Let's see. Question from Desert Wade says, did you watch the Cremo video? And if so, can police act on a video like that? I watched a little bit of the video. He was in a video game. He's like one of those gamers, right? Where they play those live games type of thing. I only watched a little bit. I'm actually downloading and saving it now before the feds take it off, just in case there's something inside that might be, valuable later on. I can show it later, but I'm trying to get to these things before the feds scrub his social media platform. Good question, though. Yeah, great. This is very true. The state of this country is making people lose their mind. Yeah, one could argue that this country is not doing a good job providing a good environment for mental health, right? Absolutely not. Question: had they released photos of him yet? Hope hopped off for a little. Yeah, I got a photo. They released the photo, but I got a better one. I always got the good stuff on this channel. Shout out to you, Kenyon. Let me pull up the photo real quick for you. Let's see what the officer's talking about, though, and I'll grab the photo for you if you got a little time.
Working diligently and as hard as we can. As you know, these things move very, very quickly, and a lot of information is coming in rapidly. We're trying to sort through what's credible, what's not credible in our pursuit of the person of interest. So nothing new as we stand here, but as soon as we know something new, we will definitely bring it to you. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, you heard him. Nothing new, people. Nothing new. So let me remove that. I hate how you can't share multiple things on here. It's kind of stupid. So shout out to you, brother. Let me pull up. This is the suspect. For those who have not seen him before, this is him. He goes by the name of Robert. What is it again? Robert Cremo III. Robert Cremo III. This is what he looks like. Tattoos on the neck, tattoo under the eye. I can't really make that out. This looks like, I'll let the FBI do their thing on figuring out who he is. Tattoos on the hand, it looks like on his left hand. Outside of that, we don't really have much more info on him at the moment. So, this is just kind of what we're going with. I mean, what do you say, right? I mean, what do you say? Questions, you guys. Questions. Let me see. Let me go through it. Put a Q in front of your question so I can catch it scrolling down. Elevated Engineering says, given the state of America, should mass shooters be considered a natural disaster? I.e. an inevitable consequence of our society. Yes. My assessment of the Uvalde shooter, that's exactly what I said, that a mass shooter is equivalent to a natural disaster. You can't control it. You have no control over them. Why do I say that, you guys? This is a psychological problem. The psychosis behind a mass shooter is very, very intricate, not justifying their evilness, right? We're not doing that at all. But to your point, I agree. I think it needs to be taught to the people that this is the reality, right? This is the reality. This is what happened when you have a country where people are unstable due to the conditions that the country created. Absolutely. People are losing their mind in this country. Our mental health issues or mental health crises are through the roof in this country. You guys, that's by design. And then when you think about the pharmaceutical companies working right alongside them, creating just enough of a cure to keep you strung out on their prescriptions so that they can make money. You guys, it's never about the cure over here. It's always about the money. And if it makes sense, it'll never make dollars. And that's how they look at it, you guys. That's why this country is not about fixing problems. They are about extending them because that's where the money is at, right? That's where the money's at. Someone, one of my family members said, this should be called the United Snakes of America because they are very snakish when it comes to citizens. You guys, they treat us like pawns. They treat us absolutely like pawns. Let me go through. Any questions you guys have in regards to what happened, how this thing orchestrated police procedures, please ask away. I'll answer them the best of my ability. For those who are new joining into this chat, into this live stream, you guys, this is Nathan Daly. This is my channel. This is our channel. Please welcome to the channel, you guys. Please hit the like button on the way in. Please subscribe to the channel, you guys. It means a lot when you subscribe. It helps with the algorithm, of course. I am on my way. My goal is to hit 50,000 and beyond, but we baby steps, right? We need to hit 20 first. But subscribing helps the channel a lot, you guys. Thank you so much for those who have dropped the super chats and who have been donating as well. If you join the channel, that goes a long way with the work that's put in. You guys, please, I urge you, if you're new, please check out the other content. I also do breakdowns on body camera videos involving law enforcement, and I give insight on these very difficult topics. I just did one last night. I was up all night doing it, watching 13 body camera videos from the Jalen Walker shooting. That was horrific. And really broke down and analyzed that entire situation. So I'd really like to get your thoughts on that as well. Shannon, thank you so much. And thank you so much for always supporting. You're always here on these live streams. I really appreciate it. Shannon says, do you think the cops got lucky because he left the rifle there? No, I don't think they got lucky. I think the citizens in this country don't really know what type of investigative techniques that we have at our disposal. You guys, you might feel free, but I assure you, you're not free at all, right? Some people would ask, is it better to live here or in China? I would say in one country, you know you're being controlled, and in another country, you don't know you're being controlled. Which one would you pick, right? Welcome to America. You guys, we have so much technology, facial recognition, especially in Chicago. I talk about these things now because it's out in the open, but we've used technology since when I first started, and I only got the surface level access to it. I can only imagine what the feds are using. I've worked with the feds on cases before, and they have some stuff that'll blow your mind. You saw what Eric Snowden said, and look how long ago that was. They have stuff they don't tell you about. I'm not shocked that they found him this quickly. I have my suspicions in regard to that. I won't say it on the stream. But I will say that the rifle, they're doing a tracing on the rifle that can and cannot be useful depending on how he got the rifle. Right, if he bought it himself, then of course they can ID him that quickly. I'm assuming eyewitness statements. People saw him get into a car. People were able to get some good description. Have cameras in the area, satellite, drones. I mean, there's a lot of things that could have used to tie him to the place. I believe they're very confident as they know where he's at or what area that he's in, simply because the police had told a certain segment of the community that they need to be on lockdown, but said this other segment of the community does not need to be on lockdown. And to me, that says a lot, means that they know what perimeter he's actually in, and they've already surrounded him, and they're going to start closing in on him. So there's a couple different ways to go about doing that. Now his photo's out. People are going to be bringing in tips like, oh, I know this clown. You know, this is him. This is him. This is where he hangs out at blase, 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 blase. I believe that he's going to stage for an assault against law enforcement. Absolutely. Absolutely. That is a great question, though. They had a prison photo. I mean, they had a mugshot photo that the news released. This photo is here that I did from my own research. They had a photo that they released from him. It was a mugshot. Looked like they have him with, I think, his hat off. I think so. Common Man, be on it already. Is that an update, Common Man? Let me drop this down so I can see what's going on the news and see if we have any updates as of yet. Tattoo under the eyes, notches for the number 5. I think that is a kill cancer tattoo. Anyone know? Oh, we don't know. That's interesting. I wonder why. You must mean like it's the hatching, like 1, 2, 3, 4, and then slash with the 5. That actually could be true. That's a good question. If that is it. I couldn't tell from what I saw initially. I couldn't tell, but let me see. Did I have another photo? Let me go through some more of these questions, see what you guys have. Lucky Burrito says, do you support Medicare for all? Everyone can have mental health care. That's a long, drawn out question. I mean, it's not, well, I guess it's relative to this. Medicare for all, honestly, I don't know how to answer that question. I do believe that we could have better healthcare for this country. I think there's a way to do it. Other countries have done it, and I've heard people from Canada tell me about their healthcare, and they said they don't like it. I believe that there's certain basic healthcare that should be provided to the citizens. Our government has a lot of money. I think the misconception is that we don't want to spend money in certain areas, but we blow money in other areas that the citizens are saying we don't want the money blown there, but we do it anyways. Last year the government spent $700 billion on the military budget. $700 billion. You mean to tell me you can't spare a little bit of that military budget for the needs of the people? You know what I mean? So again, it depends. What are your priorities as a country? Your people or your military? And you can answer that, you'll know what country you live in. Other countries seem to do it quite easily, but some people actually care about their citizens. One would argue that that's not so much over here. Is in chat. Let me see. Yeah, exactly. Shout out to you, Millennial Mark. It's a good friend of mine, you guys. Sharp brother right here. What did he said? If they divert some of that military spending back to the people within the country itself, maybe we'd be in a better state. Absolutely, man. And then let's not even get on this. Zach says 80 billion in Ukraine. Make it make sense. Listen, I'm all for helping other countries, but not before your country. Not before your country has to be first. Your country has to be proud. What is, you know what the United Nations should be like? It should be like it should be almost like a collective pot of money, and the United Nations does all the saving, right? Let United Nations put on the cape and go out here and save other countries. So what does it look like? Say every country puts in maybe 2 billion a year to the United Nations, right? 2 billion. Every country who's a part of it puts in 2 billion. That money in the pot goes to help for relief effort, to assist, and you assist respectfully. You assist these countries. That's it. But all this other stuff we got going on, all this country, it's a lie. It's a lie. And when you see that, when you read these bills, and they, like the one they did for COVID, oh my God. All this other stuff had nothing to do with nothing, was snuck in there. Gender studies and man, it's a joke. They're playing us. They put something on the heading, and then when you read all the little bits in the bottom, it's a whole bunch of foolishness. A whole bunch of foolishness. The problem is a lot of people in this country don't read, right? We just believe what these politicians tell us, and they got us divided between red and blue, and next you know, we hate each other. In fact, they're playing us both. They're playing us both. And they haven't even run the reparations as they should. So 80 billion going to Ukraine. We don't got no business with Ukraine. Take care of your people. This country has an extensive debt to the Native Americans, to Black Americans. That needs to be addressed. And while you're out here throwing money around like we got it like that, we don't have it like that. And you're wasting money in other countries when you can't even take care of your own people. Man, don't get me started on that, right? Don't get me started on that. Where are we at? Any updates? Let's see. They're back at it
That's
again.
exactly what we have here. Unfortunately, no one caught it ahead of time. No one alerted authorities for whatever reason. I don't know how they came up with the name. My guess is a friend, neighbor, family member put the pieces together, saw a description, or heard a description of the shooter, called authorities, and now we have a name and a person to go with us.
Let me ask you this, Ross, because I know we've kind of talked about the profile of mass shooters before, and kind of who they are, usually the age, the race, etc. In this case, we're seeing the videos, and I know, like you said, the Uvalde shooter, the same kind of thing. Is this a cry for help, or is this like a badge of honor to leave these videos behind? What is the purpose of leaving behind a social media trail, kind of outlining what you're planning to do or what you are going to do?
A number of these social media posts, and I've actually seen some of them this afternoon, I think they could easily be construed as a cry for help that went unanswered or unrecognized. As far as a profile, as we mentioned earlier, the FBI has studied school shootings extensively for the last 20 years. And this individual, assuming he was the one involved in today's incident, fits the profile exactly of a mass shooter or a school shooter. White male, 18 to 20 years of age, 22 years of age in this case, a loner. He attended apparently Highland Park High School. That's where he executed the crime today. So it all fits. It's just unfortunate that we don't have the way and the means to identify these people and their plans before they take place.
Yeah, you would think that I don't know if you've seen all the videos, but some of them, I mean, Ross, they're so disturbing. You would think that someone would report them to even just be pulled down from social media, if not, reporting the person, but for those videos to be taken down. I've seen people have their videos pulled from social media for far less. So I'm surprised that they would even exist still, even, as this is unfolding on social media. Ross Rice, it's always a pleasure to have you here. And it's a possibility we may come back to you later on throughout our newscast. Thank you so much for all the insight. Thank you. All right, we want to go to Anthony Ponce. He is live, where we just heard from Mayor Nancy Rotering, the mayor of Highland Park, Governor J.B. Pritzker, and we also heard from Senator Tammy Duckworth calling for more gun control. Anthony, can you give us an update from where you are right now? I see someone standing beside you there.
Yes, this is 10th District Congressman Brad Schneider, who recently relocated his own household and his own family to Highland Park. We're going to get some thoughts from him. As you mentioned, we just heard from Senator Duckworth and Governor J.B. Pritzker. And Congressman Schneider, J.B. Pritzker described this as a uniquely American problem. He described the weapon involved this afternoon in your community as an assault rifle. Talk about what your plan is, how you're reacting to this, and what your plan of attack is in terms of addressing this from the legislature in Washington.
Yeah, this is July 4th. It's a time where the whole community comes together to celebrate America's independence, the birth of our nation. But it's also roughly the midpoint of the year, and we've had more than 308 mass shootings in this country already this year. This is a uniquely American problem. Today, as the governor said, people woke up, coming to celebrate, coming to be part of a community. This is a close-knit community. People know each other. The parade's full of students from the school organizations, social service organizations, people gathering and just celebrating. And it was shattered today when someone with an assault weapon fired, I've heard as many as 60 shots, killing 6 and wounding at least 24. This community is going from shock tonight to grief and anger. And I think it's important that we hold on to that anger and we say, we can do better. We can make our community safer. We can reduce the gun violence in this country, but we have to do it working together.
Highland Park is, it's a beautiful place. It's got this really cool downtown. I'm guessing there's a lot of reasons that you chose to relocate your own family to this area. How just shocking is it for something like this to unfold right in the heart of this place that you now call home?
Well, no community should experience what Highland Park experienced today, what Uvalde experienced, Buffalo, so many communities around the country. Highland Park is a special place. We're the home to the Ravinia Music Festival. People come from all over the area to listen to music, to convene and just be a part of a broader community. We have, as you said, a vibrant downtown. We have a wonderful pool area. It's a place where folks come and want to raise their family and be a part of the fabric of their community. And today that fabric was torn, and it's going to take a long time for us to bring it back together. But we're strong, and we will bring it back together.
Governor Pritzker also, I think he used the phrase weekly to describe this as a new weekly American tradition, a mass shooting pretty much every week is what we're facing. Is the tide turning among you and your colleagues out in Washington in terms of coming together on this thing to solve it?
I think the ones that make the news, the big stories like here in Uvalde and Buffalo are too frequent. But as I said before, 308 mass shootings in this country already this year. That's more than daily. It's almost 2 a day. This is unacceptable. And I think the tide, we made a step. President Biden signed the Bipartisan Safer Communities Act that passed the Senate and then the House last month. But we can do more. The House has passed universal background checks. 90% of the country, more than 90%, believe that anyone who's buying a gun should do a background check to make sure that someone like the person today can't get a weapon. Right? There are things we can do, limiting access to these high-capacity magazines that allow someone to fire off 60 bullets within 20 seconds. There are things we can do working together while respecting the Constitution and respecting people's rights. All of us want to make sure our communities are safe, our kids are secure, that they can go to school, go to the park, go to a 4th of July parade, and come home safe and sound, having celebrated the ideals that define America for 246 years.
All right, 10th District Congressman Brad Schneider, we appreciate your time this afternoon. Thank you for speaking with us. And on that note, Tia, we will send things.
Okay. What he said was all BS, and I'm gonna tell you why. The problem is they have these politicians come up here and they start talking about these things that they don't know anything about. They never put their hands on a criminal. They never had to put their hands on a criminal in their life. Ever. But want to tell you how to protect yourself. Now, listen, you guys, I'm not a gun junkie at all. I actually don't like guns, right? A cop that doesn't like guns. Who would ever thought? I don't like guns, you guys. I just don't. I'm not a gun nut. I'm not turned on by how many guns I can carry and put on my waist, in my pocket, in my hand. I just don't. I don't. I look at a gun as a tool for protection, for my life, my loved ones, and for someone that I might have to protect. That's it. That's it. What is the issue? What did he say? He said, what are we doing? He said that we could do more. No, there's nothing more you can do. There's nothing more you can do. You guys, that's it. You can't control a sick, wicked, evil person. You just can't. There's nothing you can do. Let the people who have the mind to protect themselves protect themselves. There's nothing you can do about it. Background checks means nothing. Everybody I took guns off of were not allowed to have a gun in the first place, but yet they had one. Cuckoo cuckoo, you guys. They're gonna get it with or without you. There's nothing you can do. I'm telling you that from experience. Every gun that I've taken off a criminal was not supposed to have one. They had more guns than me. They had more guns than I did. They get them from irresponsible gun owners who leave their guns in the car. They break into homes and get guns that way as well. You guys, they buy guns stolen from gun runners from other states. They get them from gun shows. It doesn't matter. There's nothing you can do. People have fake IDs. They get guns. It's so easy to buy a gun these days, it'll blow your mind. The black market is real out here in this country. You buy a gun today and turn around and buy a kidney right afterwards, you guys. It's that easy. They don't know what they're talking about. They don't. Mental health, we got to do mental health background checks. Some of y'all have mental health problems and aren't even diagnosed. Some of you guys are on the borderline of some real mental health issues and will never be diagnosed. Some of you guys are very sane today and will be insane tomorrow. That's a fact. I've seen it happen in real time. I've seen it happen in real time. Evil is evil. There's nothing you can do about it. Nothing you can do about it. Facts. What's the other issue? He brought up high capacity magazines. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. I get it, but it's too late. The problem with this country is that we do things out of money, right? We allow these corporations to do whatever they want because it makes them money. You don't want to infringe on them. You never think past the point of how this is going to impact the people who live in this country. You don't think about it. You let them do whatever they want. And then when things get out of control, you get upset. You get upset. People talk about the health problem, health crisis, obesity, and blase, blase. But you let these corporations sell garbage and toxic food that's not real to its people, and then you're mad that they're killing over. Come on. This country doesn't think it through. It's like we don't think past the dollar sign. It's always profit over people in this country, you guys. Welcome to America. This is capitalism. They don't care about the people. You are nothing more than a pond used to produce money for those who want the money. That's it. It's just that simple. High capacity magazines. Why does it matter? You go from 30 round magazine to start selling 10 round magazines, and guess what the shooters are going to do? They're going to buy 4 more 10 round magazines. What have you fixed? Absolutely nothing. I've never heard such ridiculous statements in my life. Never. I don't know. These little whatchamacallits are off the chain. All they keep talking about is gun control, gun control, gun control. Gun control. Control what? No, we need people control. We need better laws in place to punish the people for breaking laws. Start holding the people accountable. Who cares? The guns aren't the problem. If you had mass people getting stabbed by knives, then what are you going to do? Stop producing knives? It makes no sense to me. Background checks, doesn't matter. High capacity magazines, doesn't matter. The Uvalde, Texas shooter, this clown had like 60 magazines. He said killing people reduce GDP. Facts. Shout out to you, brother. Shout out to you. It's too late. This country should have thought about the repercussions of allowing people to buy as much ammo as they want, allowing them to make their own ammo, giving access to multiple magazines. They felt that it wasn't important for them to monitor who they were selling these things to. Like, none of this, we don't think about that. Why? Profit over people. It's always about money. And now you're complaining about the monster that you created. This country created the problem that we see today. More guns than people, now you're mad. You didn't see this coming. Why? Because you're too concerned about making money. Now we're here now. We're here now. And what do we need to do? Make sure that the citizens are able to protect themselves. We're too far gone. We're too far gone. Stop complaining about the guns and stop doing something about the criminals. I'm all about holding the criminals accountable. Teach the citizens to stand up for themselves. Teach the citizens on how to address these situations properly. The problem with these guns, we have too many cowards that have guns. Hell, even police officers. We got some police cowards too, carrying guns. Unfortunately, guns give people a false sense of superiority. That's what this is all about. It makes you feel important because fear, to some people, it encourages them. It helps validate them. It makes them feel important. When someone's afraid of you, that can be intoxicating, seductive to a sick individual. Power, you guys. A lot of people live and die in this country will never experience what it feels to be powerful. But a gun terrorizing people, one could say that's a form of power. It's empowering to a sick, twisted individual. In that moment, they get to feel powerful. We need to start educating the citizenry on how to handle these particular type of situations. What do you do? What do you do? What do you do? Where are we at? We're at 2 hours. I'm going to end the stream here. You guys. Oh, this is dope. At least they got something a little better up. They have a very, God, he looks sick. Jesus. Let me see.
Damage on that vehicle. That's not every single Honda Fit that's out there on the road, considering the damage done to the back of it. Again, it has an Illinois license plate of DM 80653. If you know anything about where Robert Cremo III is described to be a 22-year-old from the Highland Park area, considered to be armed and dangerous, don't hesitate to pick up your phone and call 911. If you see him or you see that vehicle, do not approach him. Do not approach the car. Call police. If you have any additional details as to videos or anything that may lead police to where he is, they do have a hotline number that you can call separately from calling 911, and that number is 1-800-CALL-FBI. Again, we do know that 6 people at last check have died as a result of this mass shooting. and several people have been treated at North Shore Highland Park Hospital, ranging in ages from 8 years old to 85 years old. Let's go back to our reporter, Dane Placco, who's been out there since the very beginning, giving us updates on what's happening out there. Dane, I know you're at a new location, but can you give us an update on what you know right now?
Yeah, we're at a news scene actually in Highwood, just north of Highland Park, and it might be a mile from the shooting scene where there is a heavy police presence right now. And that is because this is a neighborhood, this is a block in which Bobby Cremo had lived off and on for some time. Let me step out of the way here, and I want Ed to be able to zoom in, and you'll see up there, there's a house, kind of a beige, a brownish colored house, where there are a number of FBI agents and other law enforcement agents right now. They've been interviewing a person on the front porch. Those agents have been walking around this neighborhood, some going door to door, engaged in conversation with some of the neighbors that we've seen. Now, talking to a neighbor here who did not want to go on camera, they said that it's their understanding that that house was owned by Bobby Cremo's grandfather, who passed away. At that point, Bobby Cremo's father, who ran for political office in Highland Park and lost, moved into that house along with Bobby Cremo's uncle and Cremo himself. The neighbor said that Cremo had been there off and on for quite a bit of time, was well known to neighbors around here as something of a troublemaker. He said that the quote I wrote down, he said, the kid has been a problem for years. There is another house in which there's also a heavy law enforcement presence right now. That is in Highland Park, again, close to the shooting scene, a house on McDaniel. That is believed to be a house that his mother has lived at, and apparently there may have been a split in the family at some point, and Cremo was moving back and forth between his father and his mother's home. But he has been spending time here quite a bit, according to neighbors. They were aware of his presence here in the neighborhood. The individual I talked to said that his father, Bobby Cremo Sr., is just a great guy. He owns a couple of small shops in Highland Park. Again, he'd run for political office, had nothing but good things to say about his father, but said that the suspect, the 22-year-old that they're looking for now, Bobby Cremo Jr., has been problematic, has had trouble in the past. Again, setting the scene, we are in Highwood. There is a lot of law enforcement. In fact, just moments before you came to us.
Yep, and there you have it. That photo that they showed earlier, guys, that is a mugshot. And to their point, like I mentioned it before, you could tell he lived at his mom's house. He was a menace to his community. And I'm glad they confirmed that because, I mean, yeah. He also has a tattoo over his left eyebrow. He has a tattoo under his right eye. Can't really make it out. The tattoo's around his neck. This is one of the photos that I was able to pull from some research. I mean, again, this is it, right? A menace to society, a problem to his community. The people already acknowledge that. I would really like to see what his criminal history looks like. They need to go ahead and drop his criminal history now, right? We're not going to make any excuses for his foolishness, but we know he was a menace to society. So I'm really curious about that. I'll update you guys as I get some more information. Probably won't do another stream until he's apprehended. But I'm really curious what that criminal history looks like. I'll do some digging and I'll update you guys as well. This is extremely, extremely tragic, you guys. Please keep the family in your prayers. Again, another sad, twisted, unfortunate turn of events. It's very, very disappointing. But, I think as a country, we need to start addressing these things, how to deal with them as they happen, how to protect yourself, how to keep yourself safe, and what is a protocol. Just like we have fire drills, we need to have active shooter drills in public and things of that nature. What do you do? Where do you go? Who do you call? And how do you stay safe? So with that being said, you guys, thank you so much for today. This is last minute. I really appreciate all the support today. Those who became members, thank you so much. Shout out to you. Shout out to everyone who donated to the channel. You guys, if you're just not getting in, please subscribe to the channel. I really, really appreciate it. It means a lot. It goes a long way. I really, really appreciate it. And if you find it on your heart and you want to support the channel, please, by all means, any donation is a blessing. I really, really appreciate it. It does help towards building the channel, and it goes a long way. No amount is too little, you guys. But with that being said, you guys, thank you so much. Any questions that you guys have or come up with later on, please, by all means, type it in the comment section. I'm really good at trying to respond to everybody on here. Shout out to you, Norris. Shout out to you. Shout out to you. Happy 4th of July, you guys. This is very sad. Please stay safe out here. The day is not over yet. There are going to be people out here running around acting stupid, firing guns in the air. As we know, what goes up comes down. So please, please, please be careful while you are out here, you guys. The night is still early. It's sad that we've always turned these holidays or these events where we're doing things to celebrate family, do things with family, that now we have to worry about our safety. And that's, it's very disappointing, right? We see this on holidays such as this, parades. We also see this on like Halloween, those who celebrate Halloween. When I was growing up, you couldn't eat the candy, right? You had to inspect the candy before you ate it because people were poisoning the candy and stuff like that. So it's sad, right? Like this is where we're at. Unfortunately, this is where we're at. You guys, I'll keep you updated. With that being said, thank you so much for all the support again. I really, really, really appreciate it, you guys. Please have a safe 4th of July. And with that, check out the channel. Good night, everybody. Stay blessed. God bless and good night.